Real.
Hey, that's more class answer.
Real.
Right, guys, man, them in the building, make some noise.
Wait, where's the tune? What happened to the beat? What happened to the...
Oh, yeah. Alright, cool.
Wait, you gotta start. Everyone freestyle. Alright,
bring the track in, let's go. Who's got this one?
Nick's running the thing. Jeez. What?
We're Grown Arse Men and we back again. You saw the first bit, now tell your friends. Hey!
Oh no! Anyone else want to take that over? Alright, cool. Take that. Alright, listen. A little bit of light-hearted fun. I hope it was fun because we took that serious. Hey, Grown Arse Men in the building, make some noise! Yes. Another episode coming to you. Before we carry on, as always, we got to introduce the man inside. Let me start off on my right this time. Who we got?
Nick, aka Clark, aka 50 Cent.
No. AKA Stop.
The rap.
Next man.
Yeah, Marlon Riggs. Yo. Yeah. The Pan Londoner G Banks in the building. You got jacked, fam. And the man.
Man just took me your identity.
Next man we got inside.
I'm just not really covered. It's Mr. D, Darren, Fender. Me, man.
You know who it is. It's the Pan-African Dwayne. Let's go.
I love the way when he says it. It doesn't feel as effective because I've already said it. That's what I'm going for, you know.
Alright, obviously I'm your host today. Man like Craig, man like John Cena. You can't see me. You know how it goes, man. Right. The topic for today is age gap in relationships. I've been looking forward to this one because I think there's going to be a few different views. And listen, once again, just goes for the last one. If we offend, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Yeah? Right. Yeah, definitely change tune on this one. Right, so age gap in relationships. Who wants to kick this one off?
There's only one man for me.
One man to kick this off? I choose you.
Alright, cool. I guess it's me that's... Alright, to be honest with you, I don't think...
Take the situation, man. Come on,
take the situation.
Everyone wants to know what's going on.
The fact is, okay, well, I have a younger wife. It's not, not much longer.
Wife?
8 years, but it's
9.
cool.
How much?
8 years.
9.
It's 8 actually. Listen, to be honest with you, I'll be real with you. I think that once you're past the age of 24 years of age, I think that it becomes irrelevant. I think that when you're 21, you can go up to the ages of about 40 years of age, I'd say.
40?
Well, I think that women, women mature faster than men. What can I say? I don't know. I personally think that a man can get away with that. Like, the other way around, you're just.
Second answer, if you had a daughter, you don't have to be a daughter. If you had a daughter at 21 years,
I ain't got no daughter.
I said, if you had a daughter, would you be cool with having a 40-year-old?
Actually, 21.
No, I wouldn't, but I would.
So why is it okay then?
But I wouldn't. But then, to be fair with you, I wouldn't stop it. I just wouldn't be happy with it. But I think that she's old enough to make the decision.
Yeah, obviously I agree with that. She is old enough to make a decision. But you just said you wouldn't be happy.
No, but there's a point in which I wouldn't be happy. Just because I'm not happy with it doesn't mean I wouldn't.
You said it doesn't matter.
No, I'm saying it's the once from 24 onwards it doesn't matter. Don't get twisted. Like if you're 24 and she's with a 50-year-old, I don't really care. I'm
trying to establish on the fact that you said it doesn't matter with 21 and 40.
A 21 and 40-year-old, I personally, it's a bit old, it's a little bit, maybe about 35, but to be honest, I just think it's a bit grey. I think it's a bit grey. Personally, I do. I think that it all depends on the people and the people, what situations they are in their life. If you could have someone, like, for example, who's been on their own since they were 16, so they've matured a lot faster than a lot of other people.
I understand.
So I think that only once you get past the ages of 20 and 21 onwards, I think that you're mature enough to be able to make that decision. That's what I believe.
I understand what you're saying, and for me, over the years, my opinions and thoughts around this have ultimately changed drastically. Because for me, before, like, you shouldn't be doing it. Like, you just shouldn't be having them mad age gaps.
What's the matter? How big is too big?
Previously, I would have said 10 years, even 8 years. I would have said to myself, no. But
so
now,
you disagree with his marriage?
No. Previously, I would have. Okay. But over the years, I'm probably going to offend a few people. But I've gone out in it. Like, I'm going out, and I'm just seeing. Because you know I'm going there. I'm going out. No, I'm saying. I'm going out, and I'm just seeing washed up women. Like, for me, if I was single now, I wouldn't want to pick up. Sorry, ladies. But I just wouldn't want.
Sorry to the washed up ladies. Yeah.
Washed up ladies.
I wouldn't want to pick up washed up women like that have that's damaged. I wouldn't want that. Do you know what I mean? So I would probably target a younger.
When you say damage, explain, elaborate. Damage. What do you mean by damage?
Yeah, I know I'm going to be on my own, and I know I'm going to get a lot of abuse for what I'm saying. I get that, but for me, when you're like you've been hurt so many times that you don't want to let nobody in, and then everybody gets painted with the same brush.
You get it from seeing the Raven.
Huh?
You get all this from seeing the Raven.
It's part of it. It's part of it.
Bitter older women.
Yeah. I'm not down. So I think if I was single now, yeah, I would target someone of the 25, 24 bracket.
Can I ask you a question? So what are you saying? 30, are you saying 34-year-olds are washed up?
I didn't say all of them are washed up. No.
Okay, I just wanted to understand what you were saying.
There are some very nice, and that's nothing. Like what I've also noticed. Yeah. Again, sorry ladies if it doesn't apply to you, but if it does, you will know deep down in your heart. There are many women that get older and then they decline. Like they just. Speak the truth. Decline. Like, let's not pretend, guys.
Yeah, speak the truth.
Hold on, no, that's not.
Listen, let me just take it to the stream. I want to keep everyone involved on this one, yeah, because I think a few people can have something to say. Right. Nat Burton Allen has said, when we was doing, I think, the example with the 21-year-old, the 40-year-old, I just want to make sure I get this right. Ew! 40.
Okay, it might have been a bit too old. It might have been a little.
Right.
I admit that.
Right, Wayne Edwards has said, is this going to be another backtracker.com episode?
No, I'm not backtracking.
Well, we'll see later on, exactly. Right. Simone has actually said, nothing wrong with 8 years, G. I'm going to add this bit in, or 9. My hubby is 8 years older than me, and we met when I was 19.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what I mean.
13 years later, we still all good, thanks. Benefit of a mature, grown-ass man. Yeah, shout out to Simone. Shout out to grown-ass man. I saw you there.
We get that. No, I'm just thinking, if that's my child and she's 19,
I'm mad.
and she's getting out with a guy, 8 years older than her?
No, but
So
I
what we
disagree.
saying?
though.
27. I'm really not gonna be happy with
But
that.
So hold on. Let me just try and go back onto that point with Darren there. So if your daughter was 19 years old and she brings home Mr. 27-year-old experience, what are you going to do?
Have you seen Will Smith's? Have you seen Bad Boys? When man comes to the door.
Yeah.
Got the gap. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I just think you lot are being immature, man. Love is love, isn't it? Yeah, love is love. The fact of the matter is, I think that once your child at a certain age where they can establish whether or not they have love, then that's their business, isn't it?
If that's the case, then it wouldn't matter what age then.
No, but and the thing is that once they hit past the age of 21, to be honest with you, whoever they want to date, there's not really much I can say.
You can't do anything. No, we can't do anything.
But she wasn't 21.
I know, but
you're saying love is love, yeah? But at 19 years of age, yeah, I personally do not feel you are mature enough to understand.
You don't know what people have been through. You can't talk about that.
Can I ask a question just to the whole table? I'm going to ask Nick to kind of take this one on, yeah? When we're talking about age gaps, is the visual the most important thing? Because someone who doesn't look their age, let's just say, for example, there's a 25-year-old who's now going out with a 42-year-old. Yeah, but they actually look very similar in age. Does the age gap then become less relevant?
For me, no. For me, I think a lot of it is how people view your relationship. So one is outsiders. So if you do look similar age, it will appease a lot of people. However, for me personally, we can't relate on a certain level.
Exactly.
So like, I may want to talk to you about music, or I may want to talk to you about film. I may want to relate things to my life, and that's what a lot of my relationship is about. Is linked to music or having the same similar interests. I'm not going to have that with someone who I feel is a lot younger than me. Yeah. For me, we just don't have that common interest, and I'm going to have to go to other people, my own age group, to almost fill that void, to almost have that.
I disagree. I disagree. I think that when they're younger, they're more positive and motivated with life. That's my. I think that when people get older, they get a bit more tired and they get a bit more drained with life. I think that when you're younger, like for example, my wife, she motivates me on a general scale because she's so hungry for life at the moment. It makes me more passionate about it because she's so. I want to do this. I want to be an actress. Like she did a multi-million-pound campaign. She's doing her thing. These are the points. And when you're older, I drop that in. I drop that in all day. That's what That's what I'm saying. But the point being is that
For me, that's all well and good. But when I'm driving in the car and I put on my old playlist and she's looking at me like, oh, what is this music put on young fun? Like, we have a problem.
Exactly. That's ridiculous. My missus listens to more Jigga than I do. No, we're talking, but it's an age gap we're talking about, and I'm saying that it doesn't just.
Rex, what are you saying on this one?
The whole thing about how it appears to others, I think it does make a difference to an extent, because you don't. I'm not saying I'm into young girls or anything, but you wouldn't want your girl to look like she's enough younger than you, and people asking bare questions like, are you with your little sister and all them kind of madness there. I kind of the same thing with Dwayne. Before, like, I guess when I was a lot younger, I'd have said like 2 years, like I didn't want anyone younger than my sister. Then like I kind of made the gap a little bigger, and I said, okay, maybe 3 years. Nowadays I say like 5 years, but even then, I don't know. Even now, like Dwayne saying, when as a single man, I'm looking. Man said hi. I'm out there looking and I'm saying, as long as you're mature and you can bring a certain understanding and a certain mentality to the table, then I can be interested.
Right, let me just ask you one question on the back of that, and then I need to take it to the stream. Right. So with that being said, you're a 30-plus-year-old man, right? So if a 20-year-old who is you get old souls. Yeah, she's an old soul. Yeah, she's very, very mature. But is that a deal breaker? Yes or no?
Yes.
Her age is a total deal breaker. Yes. She could be the perfect woman, but because of her age, which in 10, 15 years is probably becomes irrelevant.
Exactly.
You're missing out on love.
Did she grow up with Bobby Brown?
I get that. Yeah, but you can teach her about these things, or she may know because she's got parents.
It might seem very silly. We can't see eye to eye on music. It's very. It seems like a minor thing. No. Listen, if she don't know about Bobby. And then man there, but she could do, just because she's younger doesn't mean she can have older brothers. It's like older brothers and sisters. She knows everything about. At 20, my woman knew everything about hip hop. You know her. So but this is my point. Different. No, but you can't say she's different. I'm saying she's about people, sir.
For me, like they're talking about visuals. I don't think visuals is my problem with this. My problem with this is I don't know, I'm 40 and my missus is 20. She unlikely to have kids. She's going to want to generally have kids. Now, I'm with a 20-year-old. I don't want to be a dad that's 60, 70 years old. No, too. I think that's an issue. Yeah? I don't feel that people give this much thought when they're doing these big age gaps. Like, for me, at the same time as, like... for me, at the same time of having these relationships, you've got to give consideration to, okay, when I'm a parent, what age am I going to be? Am I going to be able to run around with these kids? All those things need to be given thought. When we have those big age gaps, we are all in different spaces in life. We are all different spaces. We might have a woman who, at 20 years old, she has no interest. She might be waiting until she's 35. By the time she gets to 35, I'm clean into my 60s. Well, that's all nuts.
What are you saying on this one?
I'm with D. To me, it's a joke. Like them big. I think 5 years is about as much as I could do. Anything younger than that, it's just too much for me. If I'm closer to your parents' age than I'm to your age, then there's a problem. Like I can't be in a room with your parents and relate more to your parents than I can to you.
That's mad still.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Alright, listen. Let me take it to the stream, guys as well. Everyone, you know the drill by now. Share the video whilst we're live. We do appreciate it. Right. Michelle has said, I don't care how people see my relationship as long as I'm happy. I've noticed a lot of women in their 40s. Don't know where he was going with that. Oh, sorry, she actually commented again after. A lot of women in their 40s are now seeing guys in their 60s. Fair dues. Fair point.
That's not nuts at that age. Yeah. But if you have been with that person from 20 and the 20 year age gap from 20 to 40, that is nuts.
Because of the points of life.
But the older you get, the age gap becomes less significant.
Can I just say,
the younger you are, then it's more significant because the facts, the points that have been raised. I can't be 40 years of age and be with a 20-year-old and have lots in common. What am I going to have in common with you at 20 years of age?
You could want to travel.
I have double your age.
There's so many things you could want to do. Active.
No, not want to do, but what have I got in common with you?
Everything.
Like what?
Passion. passion for art. You could have passion for going out. You could have passion for hip hop. You could want to you could want to travel the world. There's so many different things.
You're talking about yours.
No, because I am. Because the reason I'm talking about it is because I'm a prime example for the topic. Because I can have the conversation.
I hear that.
Nick,
I'm not sure if you lot heard of a golden equation, which is almost like the rule or like the norm for if you want to. I guess the lowest age that you can go. So like you half your age and add 7 years, and whatever that number is, that is what is acceptable basically.
so say that. So whatever you're half your age.
Half your age.
So let's talk about a 50-year-old and let's do the maths together. So a 50-year-old.
You got a 32-year-old basically.
Okay.
That's quick maths, and you're thinking, wow, that's good.
I don't know if it's right though. Because someone confirm it. So you divide it in two, and then you add
7.
Right, yeah, it's right.
Would you guys 50 or
G stop? It's right.
No, I was looking at 40-year-old, 27.
Would you do 50?
Yeah, I'd say.
I wouldn't do 50, but
I sure wouldn't.
I think as a man, I would do, as a 50-year-old man, I could probably be 32.
Because you feel refreshed. That's why.
But also, in terms of numbers, the bigger the age gap, numbers-wise, the more chance you are of having a divorce.
Yeah.
I can probably.
Let me take this to the stream because we've got some interesting comments that I'd like to hear things on the back of. I'm going to read a few and then I'll let you guys kind of comment. Right, it's not just men that like a younger model. This is Michelle, by the way. My partner is 5 years younger. You know what, Michelle? Good for you. You're getting that young blood.
That's cool.
Right, we've got here. Ellie has said there was 30 years between my parents. They both loved each other, married for 30 years. R.I.P. Dad. I've got to say as well, if you know Ellie, I've witnessed that relationship and bless them, man. That beautiful couple.
No one's saying it can't work.
But hold on, there are exceptions to the rule. I'm not saying that. We're not going to say that it's just never going to work out. Of course, we've got people in our streams that are testament to that. It does work out. However, on a general scale.
But I think that's hypocritical.
What's hypocritical?
Should there not be I don't know, a ruling as such? At what point does it become too much?
I think
and does it matter whether it's the man being younger or the woman being younger? What you got to say on it? Because everyone can see everyone having a...
Sorry.
Guys are live on camera.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Eddie, no offense, yeah. But 30 years is a joke. Like,
I think that's
30 years is a joke. And for me, yeah, like...
So what are you saying, man?
Your mum must have had either some deep insecurity issues or she felt she couldn't do any better. She didn't need to be looking at a man for 30 years.
Whoa. Hold on a minute.
That is not to offend anyone that's looking.
You can't say that and say not to offend.
I'm not saying it to offend. I'm saying it. If anyone's looking for someone 30 years older, that's not.
No, I'm saying, listen, I personally, that's not me in it. 30 years, I can't see in any situation that I'm going to go out with somebody 30 years my junior, yeah? But we know there are instances where that does happen. I'm just talking on a general basis. I can't say to somebody, oh, your mum must have been insecure and blah, 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 because it's worked. They've made it work for 30 years. Which I'm just talking on a general scale.
No offense.
For the majority of people who would enter a relationship with somebody either 30 years a senior or 30 years a junior, I personally believe, and I don't know stats, but I personally believe that the success rate for those kind of relationships isn't going to be great.
Because if I'm 50 and my wife is 80 and she's going through these health problems, and
listen, now, first of all, I got to say, Nick, you are a disrespectful bastard. I'm just going to put that out there. This is my own personal comments. You know nothing about the relationship to be judging it in that way. And you're single, yeah? I don't care, you're single and you're alone, yeah? You would rather have someone 30 years your senior than be single and alone. You hug yourself at night, and that's it. All I need to say on
Here's the views of Nick, not of all of us, not of Grown Arse Men, of Nick.
And Dwayne.
Alright, listen, all banter aside, I do want to keep up to date with the comments coming in, yeah? Wow. Guys, thank you again for sharing the video, it's going well. Carlene has actually said, may I ask, why is it seen as okay for a younger woman to date an older man, but if an older woman dates a younger man, it's not right? My man is 4 years older than me, and that's enough for me. And men need to watch out because a lot of girls look a lot older than their age. I just think 4 years is absolutely irrelevant.
No one's in school at the same time.
4 years.
Yeah,
years
like,
is
absolutely
nothing.
irrelevant. Right, Sylvia's just said, good evening, gentlemen. Missed the first part of the show, but we'll be catching up after this. Just shared the live
Make sure you
stream.
do, make sure you
Yeah,
do.
big up, Sylvia. Thank you. We love all of that. Right, Mish Ferguson said, so I hate when I put full names on blast, but Mish Ferguson said, I wouldn't want my 18-year-old son so bad in a relationship with a woman even 10 years older than him. She'd want him to grow up too quickly for her, and I want him to enjoy his youth.
Yes.
What's the comments on that,
That's what I'm
Darren?
saying. Like, 10 years of senior. You are at a totally different stage in your life to a guy that is 18 years of age. What have you got in common?
Why do you want to eat her?
How can you build with an 18-year-old if you are 28 years of age?
So many things.
You can't say it, but
I've said it. Then you could in life. I've said you could sit there. You could be interested in the same music. You could be interested in the same kind of shows. There's so many different topics and things that you can.
In general, you're spouting and you're not saying nothing. Listen.
How am I not saying that? I'm answering the question, innit?
Listen, what I'm saying, you keep saying, oh, there's so many things. Like, it's not likely for a 28-year-old and an 18-year-old to share the same taste in music.
I disagree. I completely and utterly disagree.
Right, make your point as to why.
Because
not based on your own.
No, but why can't I base it on my own?
Because you are one individual. We're talking about general.
You can't take that.
How can you? This is what I'm saying, right? If we're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk about, okay, you know, if I'm in a prime example and my partner's 8 years younger than me, and I can, he's sitting there saying, oh, you know what? Well, when there's a big age gap, there's differences. Oh, that you know, you're not into the same stuff. I'm telling you that as a being in me and my woman, we're always together. We have so many things in common, and I completely disagree with your statement. We have, everyone that knows us knows we have nothing but fun together, catching jokes, doing cool shit, and we go theatre, whatever. There's so many different.
That's the sticking point, guys. I want you to hear that. We go theatre.
We go theatre. That's what I'm saying. You gotta do whatever. So my point being is, you can't turn around and say you've got nothing in common because it's rubbish.
Right. Let me just say, Anne-Marie has just said, I think we did say it at the beginning. Don't mean to pry, but what is the age gap in your relationship? That's the banks.
Oh yeah, no, mine's 8 years. Like, so it's like, you know.
Is it 8 or is it 9 years?
No, it's 8 years. It's 8 years. She's 26.
Because she can notice that you're so passionate about the subject.
No, she's 26. I'm 34.
But that's a huge difference between 18 and 28.
I agree with you, but the difference is that when I met her, she just turned 21. I literally just met her with you. So
how old was you? Just to remind us. Good maths.
8 years difference. I was like 28, 29. No, real truth. But my point being is that, she was here. But that's what I'm saying. But when I met her, she was mature because, you know, like, I'm not trying to air her business, but, you know, she'd been living on her own for a long period of time. She was mature for her age. And the difference is, I think that the reason that a lot of men would be with younger women is because men are dogs for most of their years, and it takes a while for them to get to a point where they come. Okay, you know, say what you're saying, innit? But at the end of the day, I'm sure that you're not going to say. Actually, I'm not going to. I'm going to stop. My point being is that.
What's your point?
My point is that you can't turn around. Oh, fuck it, I forgot my point.
Listen, I just want to say, I think Leon Brown's made a very good comment here, and I think it was more to Dwayne. He was saying, well, because he was trying to take the fact of him having the experience away and kind of generalise. And he actually did say, so G can't base it on his experience, yet the rest of us can talk with no experience.
Thank you. That's my point.
You know, I think this is one where we should definitely be listening. Obviously, everyone's going to have their opinion.
Yeah, I think why I said that, though, is because Darren in particular was talking about 18-year-old and a 28-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah? G's talking about being 24 and 34. It is two different parts of life.
26 and 30. Why you just make it a 10 year?
I think that for me there are two different stages of life.
Most definitely.
18-year-old is in college and stuff, bro. Like you haven't lived life when you're just coming out when you're in college.
I think even for me, even at 24, I'm a completely different person then to what I am. Now to what I am. What was then.
Agreed.
But in G's defence, I will say that seeing him and his wife together, I do understand why he is so passionate and why he doesn't understand.
But I'm not saying it can never work though. Right? That's not.
No, but G can only go on his experience.
Of course. But what I'm saying, generally, and somebody raised the age gap of a decade of 10 years, and the junior was 18 years of age, and the person was 28 years of age. I can't see myself in that position. For one, looking at a girl and saying, "Yeah, man, you look nice as an 18-year-old.
Why are you
and then looking at her and thinking, do you know what? You are on a level where I want to grow with you. Yeah. I just can't see that.
It almost goes back to the last stream where we was talking about like paedophilia, because.
Whoa! Why would you?
No.
I didn't want to. That's what.
You know what? I just got scared that we was going to relate the two things and they're totally separate. Sorry, carry on.
I think I know he's there.
Cheryl Cole, she just started dating this. Is it Liam?
Yeah.
From One Direction.
She knew him from his 13.
She'd known him from his 13, 14. Now, yes, they're going now and it's legal and they have a baby.
Disgusting.
Well done stuff, but. If you've known him for that time, that's
disgusting.
That is
but what? All right, let me play devil's advocate.
Cheryl Cole's a lurker.
Right. All right, Cheryl Cole's a lurker. Shout out to all the lurkers, yeah, because you can get success as she has. But yeah, you've thrown it. But what we're actually talking about, someone actually mentioned grooming. Yeah, and that's not necessarily. We don't know whether she's known him and had relationship with him all the way through. They might have met, gone away, and then they've met again in a later life. She might not have even remembered meeting him. We don't know this.
Listen. If I know somebody from 13 years of age,
gross, bro.
I do not care. In what walk of life we've come together at a later date. I've known you from your 13.
Disgusting.
Point blank period. That is it. There's no interaction with me and you in terms of a relationship. None. Yeah. Point blank. Yeah.
So potentially the love of your life, although it's totally legal,
Bruv,
you're just saying no.
The love of my life.
There's so many women out there.
You would never know.
You wouldn't get to that. That's my point. You know, it's where they're so young to start with. It's like you don't look at them in that way. And if you,
exactly.
And I know people could say it could grow into it, but I just think it's weird personally.
It's weird.
All right, listen. Let me take it to the stream. I want to keep everyone involved as much as I possibly can. And again, shout out to anyone that I don't get to read their comments. It's not personal. Right, Paula has said, try and get as many likes as you can on your comment, because that actually kind of alerts me as well. Right, Paula has said, as much as I'd like to say age ain't nothing but a number, the same amount of years age gap can be right in some cases, but can also be wrong in another. Depending on the actual age of the individuals. For example, a 16-year-old with a 36-year-old would be ill.
Yeah,
that's not that's it's
but a 26-year-old...
That's borderline illegal.
Yeah, let me make the point. But a 26-year-old with a 46-year-old would be acceptable for the fact that the 26-year-old is a mature adult, if you get what I mean. So every situation is different, even though the age gap is the same as in 20 years.
Totally.
And you know what? I'm in total agreement with it. Before we actually done this show, I would have said anything above maybe 10 or 12 years, I think is going a little bit too much. But I've seen evidence of relationships that have changed my opinion. I've got one at work. My two directors, they have a 16-year age gap, and you wouldn't tell. And that's the reason why I kind of said is the visual relevant, because I wouldn't tell. So it's not an issue. It's nothing to judge in that sense.
So that's right. Can I just tell a story real quick, because it's actually funny. It's like,
it better be funny now.
It's not funny. It's just a true story that I think people should know. Okay, I'll be quick. Right. When I first met my wife, I remember I was a bit nervous because she does look young. That's the thing. She looked really young, so I was all nervous. I remember I spoke to my brother and I was like, I met this girl. I think she's the one. Like, she's really cool. We get on and whatnot. And I was like, but she looks young. And he made a very good point to me. He said, dude, what would you rather? Would you rather have a girl that looks young now and in 10 years looks like 10 years older than she does now? Or would you rather an older looking girl now and in 10 years she just looks old? And I thought, you know what, fair play. So it's not really about visuals. To be honest with you, stop thinking. Don't worry about what other people think about you. Just be happy with what's going on with you.
Can I just respond to that? That wasn't funny at all.
When I told you it wasn't funny, I said it was funny. I meant to say it's funny that you mentioned that, but I just didn't finish it and you were waiting for a joke.
There's a few relationships that we want to bring to the table. Like we've spoke about the joke, Cheryl Cole, does anyone know the age gap? If someone could tell us in the stream what the age gap is, that would be good.
I think she's our age. She's like 33 and he's 21, so maybe 12 years.
So you're talking 12 years.
Yeah.
So
it's a circumstance.
So that one is based on the circumstance, not the gap.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if anyone's ever been like me, and I'm sorry to kind of go into this, but When I found out about R. Kelly and Aaliyah, I couldn't listen to Age But Is Nothing But a Number again. That tune troubled me. Sorry, that's very random.
What was the age gap?
I don't even know what the age gap was. I know that she was, I believe, 16 at the time.
It was wrong.
There was uproar about it.
And he later went on to go and piss on somebody. But listen, that's his private business.
Allegedly.
There was a video. Right, baby. Right. T. Coco has said, what would you do if you was dating a girl thinking they were only 5 years younger than you? You both have a great connection and she makes you so happy. Then you find out it's actually a 10-year age.
No, for one,
it's no longer. Hold on, let me let Darren get this one.
For one, it's not necessarily about the age. Like you have lied to me. Yeah, you've lied to me. All right, if you are of a certain age, like if you're young and I thought you're older. When we're young, we've all told lies about our age. When we're like teenage years.
Never have, not me.
Well, I have. I'm telling the truth.
I told some lies, bro.
Yeah. You might lie for what I have. But it depends.
Some of them are lying now.
Yeah. It depends on what age that lie was told, innit? So if I'm like 28 and I think you're 23, that's cool. And then I find out you're 18. No, you got to go.
I've got a problem with a lie, so I just think that causes all problems in the first place. That lie, and now my relationship's built on a lie. That's a problem.
But is it a relationship or is it you just getting to know this person?
Yeah, like that person.
So how long have we gone into it before she tells me?
But that person might have really liked you, and they lied because they knew that if they told you the truth that they wouldn't get you. So that was their way of getting.
Interesting.
But for me, if you lied, if we kind of met and you've lied and you're the woman of my dreams, I'm not going to risk that because of a lie. But I would be disappointed in you. But I'd understand the reason behind it because you would want to get close to me. I understand.
also, the thing about it is, if I feel like she is somebody who I can relate to and we've got things in common, and she then reveals that she's 5 years younger than what she is, then I've got to look at myself and say, well, the person who I thought she is, she still is the person who I thought she is.
So she's 17.
Huh? What? What?
So she's revealed that she's 17.
I can't be someone 17.
No, 17 is a joke.
They don't even understand it.
Listen, while we're on the subject, I want to bring up another one. This one was actually sent in to me as well. Mick Jagger has become a father at the age of 73 and his girlfriend is 29 years old. Right. Are there any men around the table that say, you know what, Mick Jagger, do your thing, like, that's good?
Well done. Why would you want to be a 73?
Why do we clap it? Why does anyone?
Well done for him being able to get a young thing. Like, well done for him being able to get a young thing. But at the end of the day, why would you want to be?
Alright, cool. So now I want to flip it. Obviously, I can't flip it to the point where this 73-year-old is going to be having a baby. I can't see that happening. But if it was the other way round and the man was 29 years old and the woman was 73 years of age, is anyone going to be clapping that man?
What I'm saying is,
go on, Dan.
In that circumstance where it was Mick Jagger and you're rich and you're famous and blah blah blah, I think it's kind of more acceptable because you're. Well, hold on. Because of
Savile crew again.
No.
Why does money dictate the change?
No, because the quality of life that you can offer you can afford. Now, me personally, I can't be 20 odd and be with somebody who's 73. In no way, shape or form. Me personally, I can't do that. It's just not me. Society will say that a guy will be looked upon and cheered because obviously the fact that he's secured a younger.
Well, it's not society; it was us.
Society generally will look at a man and say, you know what, kudos to him. But if the roles were reversed, society is likely to slate the woman.
I want to slate the woman. Nick, take this one.
I don't think that I would applaud. I know that I wouldn't applaud Mick Jagger, or if it was like the other way around. I think. It isn't acceptable at all. I think that we're just not surprised by it because it's Mick Jagger. But I don't think no one would accept that, money or no money. I don't think anyone would think that's. It's not
a matter of acceptance.
I don't think you can say people wouldn't accept it.
Mick Jagger's family and friends may even say because he's got kids older than.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a matter of being acceptance here. I think that obviously a 73-year-old has picked up a young 29-year-old. Like, obviously he's done very, 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 very well for himself. He's 73 years old, for fuck's sake. But for me, the problem in this circumstance is he's become a dad. Like, that is wrong for the child.
No, it's not. You know, how is it wrong? It's Mick Jagger. You crazy?
No, man, it's not 20 for you to have a dad that's 73 years old.
No,
He's not even going to be around.
He's 73. So what? You could have nephews. You could have kids. What? You
No, but Mick Jagger won't be alive to see his kids.
Exactly.
grow up.
So what? He maybe wanted to leave something for the world.
No, you can't say so.
You lot.
It's unfair for the child.
You can't say so.
How is it unfair? What's more unfair? For the child to not be born at all, or for him to have an old dad?
The child not being born is not going to affect anybody, is it?
Why are you so angry?
Because you're chatting shit. I think you lot are some freaking ages. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous.
It's not being ages.
Listen, if they're in love, they're in love. Let them do what they want to do.
Listen.
I don't understand.
Listen,
Let him make his point.
So, 73-year-old dad,
Yeah.
is not likely, to see his child get to 25.
So, but okay, let's
So he's not going to see him
So,
for
quick
25.
question. So, quick question. So, let's just say you're saying.
How can you say so? I don't understand.
So his child is going to
Wait, I'm
experience
saying-
a massive
but here's my
loss
point.
before he gets a respectable age.
Here's my point. As Mick Jagger, think you're Mick Jagger. Maybe you wanted, I want to leave a child to the world. I want to come
He's
in.
got children.
He might want another one. He might want another. You don't know.
That's selfish then.
Hold on, sorry, 1 second.
What, he's having children?
1 second.
What the fuck? Are you not serious?
1 second. Listen, if you are planning to bring up a child, or bring a child into this world, and knowing that you're not likely to be around for that child for the foreseeable future, that is selfish and borderline egoistic.
That's ridiculous because you don't know his family structure. You don't know who he's got around. You don't know if he's got brothers, if he's got nieces, nephews, anyone that could look after him. He's a multi-millionaire, and he could think that it's just like you bringing a child into the world and
He's
like,
not here, Nick. He isn't here.
No, but I get.
Yeah, but he has got a point.
come on, man. You don't know what his family structure is. You don't know what his family.
Hold on, 1 second. What's my point?
Let me try and answer, and I'll let Nick carry on. Right. So the point is, in terms of him being Mick Jagger's son, he's already got an advantage in life.
Yeah.
You're talking about not being there after 24. That's not guaranteed anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a father could drop down dead at any time. It can happen.
What's the average? And I'm just saying something to you. What is the average lifespan for a male?
You're asking me a question I can't answer.
Right, and it's
what is it then?
and it's much older
What
than
is it?
and it's much older than 30, right?
Right.
It's much older than 30.
Okay.
So by the mere fact that you are 73 years of age, you are not likely to be in this child's life for 30 years.
Right. Let me.
Dude, you can get it down tomorrow. It makes no difference.
Let me counteract that, and I'm going to pass it on to Nick. So if he was younger, let's just say that he had no plans to actually be a good dad. The fact that he's alive, that makes all the difference.
That makes it better.
It doesn't plan to be a good dad.
No.
You're saying about he's being selfish because of his age. Let's just say he wasn't going to be a good dad. You know what I'm saying? Everyone doesn't have
just
good
selfish. If you're not going to be a good dad, why are you bringing children into the world?
So if you happens, man.
If you knew he was going to be a shit dad, why would you bring a
But
child?
you could bring him back today and die tomorrow. It makes no difference. You can't turn around and talk about his intentions.
Nick, take this one.
Firstly, everyone's getting caught up and stuff. Like, let's just bring it back a second. Let's just say Mick Jagger just went to have sex, and you got a girl pregnant by accident, and he didn't believe in abortions. Like, maybe that was the situation. Let's
It's still unfair for the child, regardless.
He's a multi-millionaire. If he thinks he's got it covered, he's got it covered.
What the hell?
Money's got nothing to do.
Money has. Well, you lot are chatting so much shit.
You are a
This is
lost guy,
ridiculous.
bro.
This is
Listen, if you think money can solve all problems, you're
No, but I'm saying,
bro.
if you don't know his family structure on top of that, then you can't say that. How is he
Who wants to lose their
relevant?
father?
What are you talking about? You don't know if he's going to lose his father. You could die tomorrow. It doesn't mean lose his father. Say that.
So Greg, listen, alright, guys, I'm going to take it to the stream, because you guys are angry. All right, so let's see what everyone else is saying. Let's see what the viewers' views are.
Everything.
Right. Tia has said, and I'm gonna run through a few of these because you guys need a breather. Right, I agree. It's not fair on the child to lose a father at such a young age. Cool, we can say that's 1-0. Right, Sherry Knowles has said, I agree. I can't really relate which one that's to. Aaron has said that he agrees. All right, I agree. He's selfish. From Michelle. Becky has said the child needs their father. Yeah,
Doesn't matter, he's got money.
Maximus has said every child needs a father figure there for them.
Exactly, a father figure.
Father figure there for them when growing up. Yeah, there's a lot of laughs. Right, Paul has said a bond and a relationship is more valuable than money in my eyes. Money has nothing to do with it. Mish Ferguson, let me just read this one out slowly so everyone can hear. Calm down, fellas. Yeah? That's a good comment. I'm gonna like that one. Right. James Brennan has said angry mode, but I agree with the angry guy. I think that's gonna go out to man like G. JB has said I agree with G. All right. So. Alright, and Melissa Clark has said money can't walk you down the aisle.
No, but I'm not. You know what it is, people. Yes, I'm not.
Yeah, because he's not going to be here to.
No, please. No, but let me just clarify this. I'm not saying that money means that it's okay for him to do whatever he's doing. But what I'm saying is, I think it's unfair unless you know his family structure and his position in life, because it's not just about him. In a family, you have other people in the family that support it. He could be an older guy and he could have younger brothers. He could have so many other people. You don't know, so I don't think but how is it irrelevant?
Because the most important people in those child's life is the mum.
Are you guaranteed to be in your child's life forever? Yes or no, D? So does that mean you shouldn't have children? No. You're not guaranteed. Whether or not, however old you are, you're not guaranteed. Just because you're thinking...
No, I'm not guaranteed. I've got much more chance than he has.
Can I say something? Yeah?
I don't understand how you don't get
because let me just say what I'm saying, G. If you are planning to, not even planning, but if you get a woman pregnant, right, and you are 73 years of age, you've got to weigh up the options. There are lots of things that you've got to weigh up. You've got to weigh up. Okay, how am I going to provide for this child? He could, all right, box check. He can do that. He's a millionaire. Yeah, but then you've got to weigh up is money and giving them a financial foot on the ladder. Is that all that is required in order to make this child a well-rounded individual?
I'm not saying that's
Hold on. Now, the likelihood is this guy is not going to be in the child's life for 25 years. We've already said that the life expectancy for a male in this country is what? 75, 80 years of age. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is approaching kicking the bucket right now.
Okay, so quick question. So you reckon that he should have had an abortion then? She got pregnant, he got
That's
pregnant.
a good point.
You think he should have had an abortion? Should he have an abortion? Yes or no?
Question. Yeah. I'll let Darren and Dwayne
Come on, answer this.
Okay.
Huh? Come on, answer.
Cool.
People.
Cool. All right. Yeah. I'm aggressive.
Someone get some juice.
Generally, I'm not gonna lie. I don't agree with abortion. In this situation, yeah, we don't know the full facts.
No. Answer the question.
No, you're taking a piss.
Hold on. Let me finish. Can I finish?
We don't know full facts at all.
Let me finish. Yeah. If I could know that they have planned to have this baby, yeah, then I would say that they're wrong.
They haven't.
If they have this happened, then I would say, do you know what? I have to go with my core beliefs. I'd say have the baby. Yeah.
So No,
because what I'm saying is, if they have planned to have this baby, yeah, then that's wrong.
Right. So your whole thing was off the assumption that it was a planned pregnancy.
Exactly.
That's what the whole thing was based on.
At 73 years old, if I get her pregnant, I want her to have an abortion. It's wrong for me to have a child at 73.
No.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish.
No. Let me finish.
Okay.
I think it's selfish to have an abortion because you're only thinking of yourself.
Thank you.
I generally don't agree with abortion. What I'm saying though is, yeah, if it's an accident that this has occurred, all right, cool, yeah, then you go ahead and have the baby and you make the best of the situation. However, if you have had a baby at that age, knowing that you're not likely to be in this child's life, that is wrong.
So wait, just a minute though. You said you should have an abortion. I swear.
Sorry,
that's me.
No, I didn't say that.
Sorry, apologies. I knew it was from. I'm just asking. I thought you said it was him. My bad. I'm talking this directly.
There's no movement from me. I'm
let Nick speak and then I'm going to go to the stream.
I think it's important to almost know what his relationship, how he brings up his current kids. Because if he's a father figure in his current kid's life and he plays an active role there, then you could say, yeah, it's selfish of him to have
one of his children. Was it? Oh no, sorry, it's Bob Geldof. Sorry,
then maybe you could argue that it is selfish of him to kind of bring this child into the world, not having the life that his other kids have had. But if he's not been there for any of his kids and they've all been brought up by surrogate parents or families,
and my point is that
no, because then it doesn't make much difference to him because there's not
much
much
difference to the rest of the children.
No. What I'm saying is, it doesn't make no difference how he brought any child into the world. So whether or not he's going to die in 5 years or 10 years, it doesn't matter.
But he would still be selfish.
But then that means he's always been selfish.
That's not what we're talking about.
No, but it's based on age, so it's irrelevant to his age.
No. All right, let me take it to the stream, yeah, because I've actually got a few people saying go back to the stream. Right. Cool. So let me try and catch up and see what's going on. Right, Sherry Knowles has said, I personally think that when you get to a certain age, the gap is more acceptable. In my 20s, I wouldn't have dreamed of dating someone over 30, but now at 32, and after having life experiences, I would date a guy who is 40. Okay. Cassie has actually said that age gap is just wrong. I think we was talking about the 29 and 73-year-old. Shema said, I think you need a time-out toy or a talking object to pass around. Yeah, so I've got something for the end of you guys at the stream. Hold on to this one. Calder has said, when I said a bond and a relationship is more valuable, I meant as in with a parent and a child. And it is a tad selfish for a 73-year-old to want to put babies on the earth. Money can't replace a bond. Exactly. Right? Michelle said that they need a stress ball. I think between G and Dwayne possibly, maybe Darren could pass it on sometime.
No, I'm not involved.
But yeah, that's probably needed. Maximus has said, that's a strong name, boy. Maximus.
I like that.
Right? Finance is important, but that can't hug a child when he or she falls and hurts himself. Money has no emotion. Right, Tia said the point is he should just cover up. If you're going to lay down with someone at 73, go on. But I think you should cover up no matter what. I think she means wear a condom.
At 73, I'm just happy to get out.
Get out. Air pressure. You want to put pressure on.
Any STDs, I'm dead soon anyway. That's disgusting, Nick.
I'm gonna totally twist the scenario. Yeah, and I'm gonna mainly put it out to Dwayne and Darren because you had the opposing views to Jeffrey.
What they said, go on.
Right. No, this is just from me. Okay. Right. So let's just say that there's that big age gap. They've been together for a long time. She's had trouble, conceiving and having a child. It's the love of her life. Is it still selfish for him to give her a child or to attempt?
Yes.
Brilliant question.
Yes, it's still selfish.
Oh, Darren, that's
a brilliant question.
Hey, wow.
All right, let me go to Dwayne. What are you saying, child?
That's a tough one, okay? I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to say
Still
that's
selfish,
easy.
in my
Don't be
opinion.
wrong or strong.
I'm not going to be wrong or strong. I feel that if she is trouble conceiving, it isn't. It's a tough one, Craig.
This bad.
It's a tough one. I still think that it's a selfish act to know that you're not going to be there, but he's doing it for all the right reasons.
Because that is not selfish at all. Because he's doing it for her. So that's not selfish at all.
For the child's sake, what I'm saying is it's still a selfish act because he's the way to have a father, but in 10 years.
Mum's them being selfish. That's not him being selfish.
When you bring a life into this world, your sole responsibility as a parent is to do everything for this child. It doesn't matter whether he's giving her the child.
Everyone doesn't think like you.
Good point, Daddy.
Sorry?
Everyone doesn't think like you.
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. That's not like at the end of the day. As a parent, your sole responsibility is to provide and protect for the child. It doesn't matter about what either parent wants.
Hold on, about single parents.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Carry on. I'm not carrying on. Right? At the end of the day, if she can have a child, that is very unfortunate. Obviously, I sympathise with her. But him bringing a child into this world, knowing that he's not likely to be in this child's life for however many years, and is not likely to be able to provide that father figure role for this child, is selfish.
That's bullshit. Sorry.
Great. Let me hear what you got to say on this.
I'm not even saying what he's saying is necessarily bullshit, but at the end of the day, that's bullshit.
That's exactly what he said.
You love this woman, yeah? Like he said, it's the love of your life.
Yeah, that's a nice gesture.
Right. It's a nice gesture.
That's what it is.
It's a nice gesture to get.
But it's still a selfish act.
You've got children. She doesn't have any children. You've married her. You want to be with her for through sickness and health. You want to give her all that she can. She hasn't had a child. Now she wants that bond between you two, and you think it. So when she gets pregnant, you think it's right for her to have an abortion.
No, you tell me it's knowing. Oh shit! It's knowing that you're going to give the child. It's not an accident now. So at 73,
next week.
bearing in mind, you know that on average you're about to die in the next 10, 15. Yeah. Right. So your child's not going to get their 16th birthday with you present. So for you to give her that child, you're making a good gesture to her. Exactly. But to the child, it's a very self-evident because you know that child has to go through a loss and has to grieve. Yeah, and you are putting that child through that, which makes you selfish.
100%.
So your wife should go through. So is she supposed to wait till you die?
Let me point out something. She chose me at 73 years old, knowing what she was putting herself through.
Right, let me get the back end of those comments, yeah? That's a round of applause for that. Right, let me just see. Right, Shem said Mick has 8 children with 5 women. It's reckless.
You don't need no more kids, man.
Hold on a minute. Considering his lifestyle, I doubt he's been a model father. Okay?
You don't know, but you don't know. She don't know. She said she doubts it. You don't know.
Yeah, which is also true.
Come on.
You know,
What you say? What am I saying? Because she agreed with you. Get out of here. I disagree with you. You said you... anyway.
Right. She's also said if he loved her, he'd send her to find a man her own age, right? Right. So this is now going on to the topic that we was just talking about. Tia said it's selfish because no one is thinking about the child.
Right.
All right. Carlene, has said Darren puts things so right. All right. Maximus. Hey, big up if that's the case, then that child is considered a blessing. I think that's in terms of me giving the scenario that I did. Cherry Nose said, my nan had a child at 48 and she died at 65, leaving my 17-year-old uncle behind. The damage is heartbreaking. And you know what, yeah? Heart goes out to that. I was literally, my eyes were wide open when I was reading that. I was just like, wow, I was thinking, where are you going with that?
Thank you for sharing.
I suppose that does emphasise the point that Darren and Dwayne are making. I'm sorry to hear that. Later it said, selfish, that's bang on. And Carlene has said, well done, D. Alright. Right, well listen, we're going to have to try and wrap this one up now. I need to get the final comments from each of the guys. Once again, thank you again for everyone who's joined us with the show. This has been a good one. Right. G, let me get your one out of the way, yeah? Because you're going to take it to level 10. And
I'm not even trying to take it to level 10. All I'm going to say to you is that when you're in your relationship, you know what's going on. And so the fact is that I don't believe it should be about age. I don't think it should be about anything else except for the love and if you don't enjoy being with each other and you don't help each other to elevate. Age is irrelevant in my eyes unless you're like very young and therefore you don't actually understand the concept of love. But past a certain age, like I said, around 24, do whatever you feel like you want to do, man. Live your life and be happy. If the man's older, if he's young, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. Just be happy. Simple.
I echo what G said. You should be happy and make your choices that are suitable to you. I don't think anybody's in a position to dictate to people as to where their relationship and who they should be with. It's just my personal opinion that I personally wouldn't be with a 73-year-old. It just doesn't work for me. But if that makes you happy, then go for it. I don't think anyone's opinion should stop anybody from doing that kind of thing.
So no limit on age gap?
If it's not my child, no.
If I came in with a 73-year-old, you'd have something to say.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, I would. I would. But that's a new sentence. I can't change your mind. You probably get back a little bit. But
a little bit.
Alright, Mr. D.
Yeah. I'm saying I do kind of echo what G's saying. Be happy. I think like everybody's kind of said, once it gets to a certain age, the age gap is less significant. So once you've got to, for me, like 25, 26, the age gaps, you're a grown person, you can make your own decision. I personally cannot see myself with a girl in her teens. It's wrong for me personally as a grown arse man. It's wrong. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's right for you. Nobody can tell you what's right for you, but it's just not for me.
Rakes.
Yeah, so I'm being careful in the future, you know.
So, kind of what G's saying, I agree, just be happy, find someone that is right for you. When you go into, older guys, when you go into these relationships with younger girls, recognize that if you're not 100% behind it, be careful about the years that you're taking away from them.
Word.
Like,
yeah, I respect that.
You know, when you go into these things, an older person has a clearer mind about what they can do and what they can handle, what kind of relationship they can tolerate. If you can't do that long term, don't waste their time.
It's true.
But at the end of the day, find someone that's right for you. Be happy. Not too wide an age gap, but you know, yeah, man, just find someone that's that's right for you.
Yeah.
Nick.
I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna end on a quote by Mark Twain.
Go on.
I think age age gaps is an issue of mind over matter. So if you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Back for that one there.
Alright, well listen, I'm going to close out. I've been told stream, so I need to read out this one comment, this one for the table. Big up to him at 73 and still performing. It's like, wait for it. It's like talcum powder blowing out and it's a selfish act, and Jag is not the best example. Yeah, big up Wade on that one. Thank you very much.
That was funny.
Right, Sylvia said, love the individual closing, guys. Much respect. Big up to you as well.
Respect.
And
Thank you.
very mature advice that Mr. Grey Jumper, cable knit. That's Marlon. Yeah. But yeah, no, just to close out again, guys. In terms of age, I don't think there's any specific number that you can put on it. I think every situation is a unique one. However, you know, just like Marlon said, I think the older one needs to make sure that they're not being selfish by getting with the younger one and restricting, you know, their life goals or children and things like that. But listen, I don't stroke it totally out of the equation. Right. Guys, anyone else want anything to say before we close? Anyone want to say anything to the crowd?
Share, people. That's the only way we're here, man. We're here for you, so just share it with your friends and family and help us, man.
Also, I just want to the request for topics have kind of slowed down. People, let us know what you want us to talk about. Let us know what you want us to debate about. We've got G here, so everything's always going to be a lively debate. Yeah, just keep them coming in, man. We love the support. We love the sharing. Please keep it up. Grown Arse Men.
Riggs?
And all formats. All formats. You know, YouTube, Facebook, SoundCloud, wherever you can get us, we're there. If there's something missing, let us know and we'll get there as well.
Yeah, and there's been a few requests. Carly just put it. There's been a few requests about us taking live calls, and that's something that we are considering. At the moment, we I don't know how we're going to actually incorporate that and kind of keep the show time down. But listen, guys, keep coming to us with your ideas. Email us, FaceTime, Instagram, all the rest of it. Like I said before, I said no, not FaceTime. Don't FaceTime. Yeah, but open the window, scream and shout, talk to your friends, share us, guys. Grown Arse Men. We are out.